Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, and today we're going to do another fun painting. So let's get started. We'll start out today just blocking in a really large area up here. A little bit of black and green. This is just going to be the backdrop for a nice little rose bush. There we go. It just takes a few minutes to block this in. Very dark. Over here though, you can touch into the yellows. That will kind of give you a nice lighter color. So it gets a little lighter as it comes away from the center. And as you can see, we're going to do something very different here today. I'm going to paint in a rose. So I'm going to block in this little area here. I'm just going to be real careful. I took several minutes and put a sketch on the canvas here so that I don't get lost. Don't overdo. Just a bit here and there. Oh, I like that one. Isn't that nice? Maybe this one right out here on the edge. Good. And then you can go with a little bit of red and white, even brighter. Do a couple of bright areas. I don't want much of this pink because this rose is really red. But here and there it would have just a bit of this color. Not tons, but it would have some. Now with the 3/4 inch brush, some yellow, green, maybe just a touch of red to cool it off a little. Let's just work on this background. I'm going to very, very loosely brush in what'll end up looking like leaves. Now obviously they're very random, so it's not really the brush strokes that make them look like leaves so much as it is just the random patterns. And they're very blurry, so when you put more detailed leaves on front, then these leaves look more like leaves. Because you're seeing the close one, your mind will just automatically assume that these are little leaves in the background. So that's how this works. There, you can kind of drag a couple over here, something like that. We may put a couple of detailed leaves in front of the rose. I think we should. And I know we're going to put in some more roses out in here. Then clean up right in between these fence posts. Next, I'll load the brush up with a little bit of black, white, and brown. And I'll just brush this in. Okay, now this is going to be really dry, so it will take a while to brush this in, but what I really want to be focused on here is the top of these fence posts. I want them to be slightly irregular. Now obviously this one won't matter too much because it's covered by that flower. I like this color though. That's really pretty. Kind of a gray, not too brown. Not too brown. Okay, right here. See, we'll just go kind of up and down, a little jagged. There. Kind of use the sharp edge of the brush to do some of the work for you. All right, but not too dark either. Because I want to put some dark shadows in over this, and I want to put some light. So this is kind of a mid-tone. Now after you're done blocking in your fence, we can just add on a nice little, well, I guess this is like a little bush or something that's growing up the edge of the fence. Pretty subtle, it's just a little green, but when we go to highlight it, then it'll stand out. And back here, I do want it very soft, so I'll just take my 2-inch brush and I'm just going to blend it. Next, with our 3/4 inch brush, I'll go right through some black, brown, touch of white, just to lighten it up a small bit. Maybe to that we'll add just a tiny bit of blue. Let's try this out. All right, so I'm just going to come, I think it needs to be just a tiny bit darker. With this, I'm going to come right under this rose and paint in a shadow down here on the fence. That'll really help it to stand out. There. Nice. Just makes it look very realistic, just like it should. Now with some black on the 3/4 inch brush, I'm just going to work on trying to make these posts, these little fence posts, seem a little more 3D. So we need a shadow on the left side. Each fence post needs a shadow. There. And wipe off the brush. Each fence post needs a highlight. Now we haven't really made any wood grain texture yet. This is just sort of getting everybody lined up as far as the correct lighting. There. More subtle, less texture as you go back here. We can play around with this later. Actually, let's put some right here. There. Ooh, look at that. Let's do this. Let's take our fan brush and load it up with some white, black, brown, just some nice light colors, touch of yellow. And I'm gonna hold it upside down and watch this. This is gonna be so much fun. Drag it down and wiggle your hand. Make these real rough movements and you get beautiful looking wood grain. Now I'll load up the flat brush with some red and just a touch of black and some yellow. And maybe several areas up here need little flowers. And of course, we're not at all done with the fence or this area down here. I'm just taking a break. I'm gonna change areas. In this particular painting, I find it pretty fun to bounce around instead of focus on one area at a time. Okay, this one needs to be bigger. You see, these are going to be roses, and we may want to strengthen the color later. I'm just going to block in some of them. These are roses on this rose bush, because this is all one big rose bush. And, okay, I'm going to have some of the greenery coming over the edge here, so I want some roses hanging down. Very, very loose and free here. Don't tighten up. There, pretty fun. When have you ever got to paint flowers this loose? These are just not the feature though, so it doesn't matter. Paint them as loose as you want. Now before we go too far with this, I'd like to add in a few more vivid leaves. Some of them are connected to stems, and some of them are just kind of hanging there, and you have to imagine where they might get connected. Don't want to paint them all in where we can see everything that's going on, because that would ruin the effect of a very, very random bush. There. And of course you can do some dark ones as well. A couple of dark ones would be very nice, especially going right over the edge of the fence. Now let's begin warming up some of these fence posts. I'm just going to drag this color right across. It's just a little bit of yellow, white, touch of red. We're just going to warm it up. Be careful not to stroke over it too many times, because what you'll end up with is a muddy mess. There. Don't cover the whole thing with this highlight. Leave some broken areas. Next, let's add in some beautiful detailed areas to this fence. See, I'm just touching with my brush, and because this comes to a sharp edge, I get these little broken lines. Very, very quickly, just stab the canvas. There, see that? It creates beautiful wood grain details. So you've got a lot of options as far as making this texture the way you want. You can use the fan brush and drag down, which is a great way to start, and then you come back with this flat brush and then put in the details. All right. And I really think you should try to put in as many as you can do without making it look too busy, because the details will help to hold your interest. This is very close. Now let's add on just a few little final bits of detail down here. I'm just using my brush very loosely, and I'm changing the angle of my hand to get different leaf textures, different leaf angles. I want to keep these very small. And I want to blur some of the edges as I go. So I kind of flick my wrist out. And that softens the stroke without having to go back and fix it. There. Pretty easy. Then you can add different colors here. Change it up and keep it very, very loose. All right, well, I think we're done. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Don't forget to check out my website, my DVDs, and also my brush line. And thanks for watching.